Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, spiritual global entrepreneurs. Welcome to the EGU podcast, Abundance Frequencies. You're with Michelle Reinhardt. Let's get cracking. Today you're going to learn all about your three brains and how they can deliver bliss or chaos. I am Michelle Reinhardt, creator of Entrepreneurs Globally Unite, and today I have a very special guest waiting in the wings. We're diving into a topic that truly fascinates me, getting head, heart and gut intelligence aligned and on the same page. It's called mBraining or mBIT. And you'll learn more about that as we go on. But as usual, there is a surprise planned for you. So hang with us about a technique that brings neuroscience and ancient wisdom together. Grab a pen and paper, turn off your pings and dings for the next 40 minutes. We have a very special exercise for you at the end. So let's get cracking as I welcome to the show the one and only Lee Emery.
Hi, Michelle.
Hello, Bill.
Yeah, good to be here. That's the first for the year, huh?
Yes, it is. It's the first show for the year for 2017, and man, are we in for a ride for these next 9 years, hey?
Indeed.
Now, just so you know, folks, there will be a link going up for you in the show notes for Bill to contact him at evolveaustralia.com.au. But first of all, please let me tell you a little bit about Bill. He has a passion for helping people to learn about themselves. Through his work over the past 35 years, he has taught countless thousands of people how to improve various aspects of their lives. Besides working in the corporate world, Bill facilitated personal growth programs at one of Australia's best-known health resorts on the Gold Coast, and we found out that I've actually been there, which is pretty special. He's also worked with many elite sports people, including the Australian National Skydiving Team and other individuals including world-class cyclists, triathletes and golfers. He's an author of 4 books, appeared on several TV shows and various radio programs throughout Australia and overseas. So Bill is a multiple brain integration technique coach and master trainer, and his favourite tribe are heart-based entrepreneurs with a gift to give the world. Wow, I feel like I'm amongst royalty, Bill. Congratulations for that, all you've achieved so far. I'm very, very excited to be sharing what you've got with our community. Is there anything you'd like to add to that before I start asking a few questions?
What I'm going to be talking about is something that will be familiar with everyone. And what I like about it is, well, many things I like about it. One is it's based on hard science, but it's also connected with all the ancient wisdom that we've, as a species, have been exploring for at least 14,000 years. Wow. So what I'm going to be talking about, it's going to be intuitively, it'll be very obvious. But the other thing is there's a lot of science now that's saying, yep, the stuff that we thought was true is actually true, and here are the reasons why. So for people that have a scientific yearning, there's lots of science, but for people for whom their intuitive just gut sense of what makes sense in the world, you're going to relate to this as well.
Do you know, that's just beautiful. And I'm just going to invite our listeners to take a few nice big deep breaths and sink into their heart space, so they can truly absorb what you've got to share. So, Bill, do you have a defining moment that put you on the spiritual path?
Well, there was probably a series of different events that got me where I am now. And one of them was pain. I was working in the computer industry. This is way before Apple. This is a long, long time ago. And I would wake up with a knot in my stomach. And I'd go to bed with a knot in my stomach. And I knew that I was in the wrong place. And I was actually at a seminar called Alpha Dynamics, and this was in the late 70s, early 80s. And so I came from a very black and white computer world into a very, very different world. And that was really the first experience of going beyond what was just in the physical and really tuning into what was on the inside of me. And that's a very different journey. The inner journey, as you know, is very different from the outer journey.
It is. It certainly is. So what led you to this particular technique? Please share a little bit more about it with us.
Okay. So how I got to, by the way, this is, I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay. This is the book that the work is based on, and it's by two people in Melbourne, Grant Sislu and Marvin Oka. Marvin Oka I've known for probably 28, nearly 30 years.
Okay.
My training in NLP. And Grant is like a walking encyclopedia. This book was based on over 600 scientific papers.
Wow.
And a scientific paper isn't just a sheet of A4 summary, it's like very deep. Now I've stopped counting at 3,000 scientific papers. So, but the way I got into it, I was at a, what I call a plateau. I was in Blasville. I was doing, my coaching and training work, and it was good on the surface, but there was something missing. There was something that I hadn't yet found that I was still looking for.
Sorry, can I just ask, was that something that you hadn't found that you were connecting to your clients or for you personally?
Well, for me personally, I was, I've done a lot, I guess, in my career, but it didn't have the same level of excitement that I'd experienced in the past. So I was kind of like in a plateau,
Okay.
Is this all there is? There's got to be something else. And I've explored a lot in the last 35 years.
Yeah.
I'm not new to this stuff. I've been around for a while. And I saw Marvin on an online summit on EQ, emotional quotient. And I was already familiar with, heart brain. I've, looked at people like Heart Math in California. I was very familiar with my creative brain. And Marvin and Grant were talking about the third brain, the gut brain. I'm going, wow, we've got three brains. I figured we had at least two intelligence, but three. And so as soon as the webinar was over, I got on their website to the very next training that I could do, which happened to be in Auckland, which is where I'm originally from.
Okay.
So I flew up to Auckland and I did the training, and it was deeply transformational. And there was some things in the model that they were talking about that I kind of intuitively knew, but they were explaining it quite explicitly, and it made sense to me. And so mBraining stands for Multiple Brain Integration Technique. But for me, it was also the missing bit. It was the bit of all the different bits of the jigsaw puzzle that I've come across. That I'm going, this fits here, this fits here. Now I had different eyes and a different framework. So when people were stuck, my clients were stuck, I had so many more insights as to how they were doing their stucking, because it's a verb. When we're stuck, it's a verb. It's not a solid thing. So, and it's based on NLP, and I've had a lot of training in NLP. So really, it opened my eyes up to way more, but it was right in front of me. I just didn't have the language or the model to understand what I was actually saying. So,
all right, my brain is whirring. It's on fire here. I'd love you to explain the three brains.
Okay. So this is a very, very simple level that I'm talking about here. It goes much deeper than this. But on the very surface level, we have three major intelligences or brains, or neural networks is more the scientific way of understanding. One in our head brain, the cephalic brain. One in our heart, the cardiac brain. And the other one is in our gut, our enteric brain. Now, as it happens, right from the beginning of cell division, it's our gut brain, our enteric brain, that's actually the first neural network that's laid down in the womb, right from the beginning of cell division. So on top of this neural network is laid the cardiac brain next, and then finally the head brain, the cephalic brain. So each of these three intelligences do very, very different things. Our head brain, its major purpose is to be creative. So if you look around your office, you look around your room, everything there has come from someone's creativity. So the head brain is extremely creative. And it can go anywhere in the universe, which is the upside. Anywhere in the universe, the head brain can go there. The downside is that your head brain can go anywhere in the universe. It's a double-edged sword. So our head brain is to do with our cognitive perception, how we make sense of the world. But it's also how we make meanings out of the world and how we make stories out of those meanings. And some of the meanings that we make from the stories that we create are just not useful. If you want to create anxiety, your head brain is excellent at doing it. It just knows how to do that. It knows how to worry about things. It knows how to it can take something that's really small and crank it up to make it way bigger than it actually needs to be. So the head brain is a very good servant, but it is a lousy master. So this we need to directionalize. We need to give our head brain a game worth playing. Otherwise, it will just create mischief. So then we come to the heart brain. And the heart brain is our emotional center, and but it's also our connector. So when we connect with someone, we might connect with their ideas, but on a human level, it's our heart that we connect with. So this is our emotional center. Now, in traditional Chinese medicine, they call the heart brain the emperor, or in your case, it's the empress.
Yes.
And my partner and I started doing Pilates about 5 years ago. And the first things that we learned is when someone is standing correctly, their heart is just slightly ahead of their head. So we're actually designed to live our lives heart first. And in our heart are our deepest values. The deepest yearnings of us as human beings don't lie in our fingers. They're not at the end of our nose, they're in our hearts. So this is why we are biologically designed to live our lives heart first. But what happens is, of course, is we get emotionally wounded in primary school, high school, whatever it might be. And so then we shrink our shoulders and we cover our chest. And what happens when we do that, we stick our head forward. So this poor one up here gets to be responsible and work, make all the major decisions in life. And that's not what it's designed to do. So this, by the way, is called the gut. It's very good at organizing, and that's what it wants to do. But it needs to be given the direction from the heart, which is the emperor or the empress. Then we come down to the belly. And this was really the unexplored territory for me, and really for a lot of people. So the gut brain, in traditional Chinese medicine, they call it the general. It's our bouncer. It's in turn in charge of security. On a very, very simple level, if you think of a tube, which is the gut brain, it has a mouth and it has a bottom, beginning and the end. So the mouth part, its job is when when we were biologically, one of the most sophisticated forms of life was basically something like a seesaw, a tube, a mouth, and a bottom. The mouth part, its job was to decide in all the milieu that it was floating around, is something friend or foe? Is it good or bad? The molecules of proteins. Does it take something on board? So this, our mouth, our smell and taste, is our first boundary. Indigenous cultures, if they pick up something that they haven't seen before, they will lick it and they will smell it. Because if the gut brain knows, is it safe or not? Yes. So let's say we take something on board. Literally, it becomes part of us. We digest it. We integrate it. We embed it. And so our gut brain is our deep, authentic sense of self. Wow. So when someone is talking about, deep on the inside of them, again, they don't point to their knee. That's not their big toe that they point at. They'll be pointing towards their belly, their deepest sense of self. So there are three things to do with the gut brain. One is our sense of self. The second thing, it is our gut brain is in charge of our immune system. Like 80% of our immune system comes in our belly. So we've been eating probiotics for 16, 17 years, and I recommend that everyone here listening to this go and get good certified organic, a wide spectrum probiotic. Not the ones you see advertised on TV. They're not usually the ones that you need to go and buy, because the probiotic will help develop your immune system, which then allows the general to protect itself. Mm-hmm. But it's also the mobilizer in us. So you can have a warm heart and lots of beautiful ideas, but until literally you get your ass in gear, nothing is going to happen. So the gut brain is a part of us that mobilizes us and gets things done. But so here's the thing, if your heart if you haven't taken the journey into the deepest recesses of your heart, you won't know what the deepest yearnings of your soul is.
Yeah.
When we know what we are deeply, truly here for, when we respond to the messages that come from within our heart, then the head brain and the gut brain know what to do.
Mm.
But if we haven't made that journey, then the head will just go, well, I don't know what to do. What do you reckon? It'll just do this and do it. And you go all over the place. And the gut brain will go, I don't know. The boss hasn't spoken yet, so what do? I don't know. I'll just do this, I'll do that. And so we're all in different places. However, and this is when when people make decisions, often it's the head brain will make a decision, totally ignoring the heart, or the gut will have a danger signal, and if we listen to it, we'll be blessed. And if we don't, then I'm sure we've all had circumstances when our gut brain just going, nah, don't do that, don't go there, don't, whatever. And if we ignore it, it's to our peril. So they all do different things. And when the analogy I like is of a three-legged stool. So 3 is the first solid, stable structure in the universe. 3, not 2, 3.
Yeah.
So we need head, heart, and gut. They're all different. None are more important than the other. So the head brain is the most complex by far, and it can think it is the most important. It's not. It's one part of this trilogy, if you like. They all need to do their own job. And when they do, life is blissful. The other analogy I use is like, imagine that you're the parent of 3 kids. They're all very different personalities and skills, etc. It's a beautiful day, so you let them go out and play in the sunshine. And life for you as a parent would be blissful if these 3 beautiful kids played together, if they cooperated, if they were kind, if they were respectful, if they honoured each other. Then life as a parent would be just let them out in the sunshine, let them play. When it gets dark, bring them in, feed them 7 days a week, etc. But if one of them is being a little brat, is being nasty, is being unkind, is being uncooperative, then your job as a parent is basic crisis management. You've got to manage their different personalities all the time, and it can take a lot of effort and energy. Yeah. So, of course, where I'm going with this is we have three beautiful intelligences inside of us. When they know how to cooperate, when they know how to play nicely together, when they know how to listen to each other, then we can connect with the deepest yearnings of our heart. Our head brain can come up with the ideas to support that, and our gut brain can mobilize around us to do those things.
Get you moving, yeah. I love it. I love it. There'll be people sitting there that this is really, really clicking in for, and they'll be understanding why things aren't aligning for them, and particularly those that live with the monkey chatter. That take that double-edged sword, as you said earlier on, and really use the asset of that brain to the lesser of their advantage rather than the upper. Yes. Through your program, Bill, I'm imagining you would offer time to get those in alignment. What's the general? I know we're all different, and some people are going to click into this and others are going to fight it, and our ego is going to come on play and all sorts of things. Yeah. But what would be your average time with a client to take them from, wow, we're talking bliss to chaos, aren't we? What would be what's your program involved in taking people through that journey? Okay.
So there's several programs that I run. So as in my intro, I'm an mBIT coach, but I'm also a master trainer. So this book has only been out for 4 years, just over 4 years. In that time, we have about 1,000 coaches in 28 countries around the world. There are almost 100 trainers around the world, and besides the co-founders of the work, there are 6 of us who are master trainers. So I run coaching programs for coaching professionals who want to use this in their coaching practice, but I also run programs for people in my own coaching practice and group coaching too. So there's different ways people can engage. Yeah. But very, very simply, coming back to the head being all over the place, how do you get people aligned? The work that they've done, that Grant and Marvin have done, they looked at the science of being stressed. And very, very simply, the autonomic nervous system, which keeps our heart beating, keeps our liver working, keeps all the different things that our body processes going. We don't have to think about it. It's automatic. But there are two parts of it. One is called sympathetic mode, and this is when we're really busy. So the busier you get, the faster you kind of speed up, and you get like this, and you get what about this and that. So I go, oh my God, it's good. And, yeah, you know what I mean?
Oh, I do.
So this is the sympathetic mode we need to a certain degree. Like when we're busy with being active, we need to be able to, this is stimulus if you like, but you can get too much stimulus. On the other hand, the other part is the parasympathetic mode. This is when you come back home from a hard day's work, you sink into your favorite chair, you take a long deep breath out, you sigh. And then what happens in this is when you have more relaxation. But you can become so relaxed that you become a bit apathetic, a bit lethargic, a bit don't care less, a bit depressed, a bit comatose. So this is not enough stimulation. So we can go from too much stimulation to not enough. And what we need to be able to do is to get into the zone, which is in the middle bit. So when we breathe in, we trigger sympathetic mode. When you breathe out, you trigger parasympathetic mode. So all the time, our breathing is regulating between sympathetic and parasympathetic. So what they found is from the yogic tradition, there's a breathing practice that you can do to balance the autonomic nervous system. And it is very, very simple. It's so simple. For some people, it's like, is it all? Can I make it more complicated? So this, when you breathe in, you trigger sympathetic mode. When you breathe out, you trigger parasympathetic mode. So the breathing has to be equal.
Yes.
And what they found is that when you breathe in for 6 seconds and breathe out for 6 seconds, that's the most optimal way of balancing the autonomic nervous system. Once the autonomic nervous system is balanced, then you have easier access to your head, your heart, and your gut. But in a way that's kind of like this, anyone that's done any kind of meditation or prayer, they will experience exactly the same thing. But so I have clients, for example, who are very head-based. They might be very intellectually, they might excel. They might be very academic. They might be very educated. And very tangible and very kind of, unless I can poke it and unless it's tangible, it doesn't exist. I've had people that are very like that, engineers, accountants, etc., etc. And for them to get, if I said, okay, let's just sit and do some meditating and breathing, they'd be out the door. So I've actually got a machine, a little gadget from the Institute of Heart Math. And it's called an mWave Pro, and you can basically put it up to someone's ear, and it's like a heart rate monitor, and it will show a graph of what their heart rate is doing. And when someone's stressed, it's kind of like this. When they're more relaxed, it's like this. So what I did, one particular client, the CEO of an organization, very kind of stressed, and you put him on this, it was like this. I said, okay, so he had a visible and tangible evidence of what his brain rhythms were doing. Then I can say, okay, let's just close your eyes, and I just want you to breathe in and breathe out as I direct. And after 2 or 3 minutes, the heart rate was like that. And he was going, wow. So he could see that there was a difference. Because if he just relied on his feeling, it's not embedded enough in him to know this is how it feels. So once people are in this kind of a state, then it's easier for them to connect with their head, their heart, and their gut, and get some wisdom from each. So coming back to this, we have 3 incredible sources of wisdom within us, but we need to be in this kind of Zen-like space in order to access it. Because if you're in sympathetic mode, just too stressful. And if you're in parasympathetic mode, you just don't care anyway.
You're just going to go to sleep.
You need to kind of like in this space here, and we do that through breathing. So this is one of the things that I teach people, and depending on how if people done yoga, they're very familiar with it. We use belly breathing, so you breathe into your belly, not into your chest. Yep. And I'm sure a lot of people here will be very familiar with this. You breathe slowly, deeply into your belly.
The amount of my clients, Bill, that I actually have to teach to belly breathe blows me away. And that's how a baby comes into the world, breathing.
Indeed.
You can just watch them, and the belly rises and falls quite differently to what we do. So, there's fundamental little things that we're not taught until it's sometimes getting too late.
Yes.
But I just love this, Bill. Now, I know that you have a very powerful process and a support for us today. Now, this is a foundational sequence to connect with your personal power. So once again, I'm going to invite our listeners to recognize the gift that you're about to be presented and create the intention and the space to receive fully. And Bill, if it's all right, I'll just hand that over to you.
Yeah. So let me explain it first.
Sure.
The foundational sequence, and I'll use my hand here as, so imagine this is a person here. They have a head, the heart, and their gut. And if they're in a place which is unresourceful, something isn't working, they're scattered, they're anxious, whatever it might be, we have within us all the resources that we need. The thing is, do we tap into them or not? So the foundational sequence is, let's say this person here is having some kind of issue in their life, or they want some insights as to what's going on. One of the simple processes that we use is called the foundational sequence. And so what we do, let's say I'm going to find a prop here. So I'll pick this pen.
Yeah, remembering, Bill, that some will be just listening to the audio.
Right, so, okay, well, they can do this. They can pick up a pen or something in your vicinity. So I'll lead people this in an ordinary way. So imagine that the pen represents some kind of resource that would be really useful for you in the circumstance that you're in. And it might be persistence, it might be clarity, it might be courage, it might be thoughtfulness, it might be kindness, it might be self-respect, whatever it might be. So what we're going to do is to take this resource and breathe it into your heart space. So the foundational sequence is this. We start with the heart, we then go up to the head to get some ideas of how to bring that resource into our body. Nice. We then let the head brain do what it does best, which is to create ideas. Well, let's create a bunch of ideas. We take the smorgasbord of ideas down to the heart and say to the heart, which one of these ideas would you like? So the head comes up with the creative ideas, but it's the heart that chooses which one it particularly likes. We then take that idea and we feed it down into the belly. And then we invite the gut brain to mobilize itself around that idea. So the mobilizing, that might be saying yes to some things, it may be saying no to some things. So the gut brain is also about boundaries, and sometimes we don't always have the right kind of boundaries either with ourselves or with other people.
True.
And sometimes we also need to explain how it is that we show up in the world. You know, if you think about our comfort zone is the stuff that we already know what to do. We don't grow inside of our comfort zone. We might refine things.
Yeah.
So the things that we truly want are always going to be outside of our comfort zone, which means we need to step outside of what is comfortable for us and be willing to be frightened, to be willing to be scared, and still do those things that need to be done. So this is when we need to expand our sense of self, of who we can be and how we can show up in order to deal with the situation that we're dealing with, whatever it might be. Mm. So then once we get the gut brain on side and we mobilize it, then we come back up to the heart. So looking at it, for those of you who can see me, we start at the heart, we come up to the head, get some ideas, we come back down to the heart, we take that idea, we go down to the belly, connect with the belly, and then back up to the heart. And you'll see that this is also the infinity sign.
I was just thinking that. Yeah, it is. It's beautiful. Yeah. Yeah.
So we start at the heart, we come up to the head, we get the head brain to create some ideas, consciously and unconsciously, by the way. bring those ideas down to the heart. Then the heart chooses, I really like this idea, whatever it might be. We take that idea, we connect with the gut, with the general, we get it mobilized around that, and then we come back up into the heart, have a sense of connecting of how these three beautiful intelligences play together.
Yeah.
So let me just explain how you can use this. Let's say someone at the beginning of their day is unsure, they're uncertain about something, they're lacking confidence about something. Let's say they've got to make a presentation, they've got to do something, whatever it might be, go talk to someone. And so what they want to do is to have a sense of, a sense of confidence, maybe. Maybe that's what they want. So this could be the resource that they want to feed into themselves. So what I'm going to do in a moment is I'm going to put on some chimes, and these chimes go, they go every 6 seconds. And so what everyone listening here can do is to align their breathing, belly breathing, with the chime. So the chime is the beginning of an in-breath or the beginning of an out-breath. And we'll do this for a little while. And what will happen is you can start to become more balanced, so less sympathetic and less parasympathetic, more in the middle. From this space, I'm just going to take you on a journey. Now, I'm going to use the words resource or value. And you can add whatever resource is relevant for your circumstance. Now, because this is also a recording, you can take this recording, take this little bit, that particular sequence, cut and paste if you like, whatever you need to do, put on your phone, whatever it might be, and you can slow it down. Because I'll be talking at a certain pace. For some people, it's going to be too slow. Yes. For some people, it's going to be too fast. And for other people, it's going to be just right. But with modern technology, you can adjust it to yourself. But I want you to understand the principles, because once you've got the principles, then you don't need me and you don't need my recording. You can do this for yourself. And that's really the gift of what I want to offer here.
Beautiful. Thank you, Bill.
Michelle, does that make sense to you in terms of logically or as to what we're doing?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense, Bill. Yeah. Well, it does to me. The only one thing I would just like to add, for those that don't know what belly breathing is,
yes.
If you can just explain how someone does that, because if they don't get that, they're going to miss it. Good call.
So if you put your hands on your belly, and imagine that when you breathe in, you're going to inflate a balloon. So with your hands on your belly, as you breathe in, breathe into your belly, and your belly will rise. This is why Buddha had a big belly. It wasn't because he was the equivalents of fast food in his day. It's because of all the belly breathing that he was doing. So when you breathe in, your belly goes out. And when you breathe out, your belly goes in. And again, you're breathing down in your belly, not in your chest. You're breathing down into your belly.
Yeah.
And this is what we mean by belly breathing. That's why I call it belly breathing, because you're breathing. Yeah. Now, if you're not used to this, I would suggest that you do some practice beforehand. You'll have a recording of this, so you can.
Yeah.
But the belly breathing is really important.
And if you need proof of that too, you can always, if you're lying down, you can put something on your belly and watch it rise and fall with your breath.
Yes.
And the bigger you breathe, the higher that object will come.
Yes.
And then you get it. It's if for those that need the visual as well.
Yeah. And it'll kind of like you'll feel like a quietness, because as you balance your autonomic nervous system, your head gets less busy. It becomes much more relaxed.
Yeah.
The thoughts become slower. They become more consistent. Rather than being all over the place, they become much more useful to us. There's often then also in the heart, it's kind of like it relaxes a little bit. And often the belly will relax as well.
Mm.
Now, one of the things I would recommend that people do, and this is what I do every night and every morning, when I go to sleep, I put one hand on my heart and one hand on my belly. The reason I have one hand on my heart and one hand on my belly is because I'm not an octopus, because if I was an octopus, I'd have one hand on my head. And what I want to do is to have a deep sense of connection between my heart and my belly. Because once my heart and my belly are really talking with each other, my head will follow quite happily. But we need to get grounded and we need to get connected to our heart.
Beautiful.
I wake up in the morning, I talk to them both. I mean, I'm a gardener. I talk to my veggie garden. I've been doing that for decades. I talk to my body. Why not? It's been around for quite a while now. So I talk to my heart, I talk to my belly. I ask them how they're doing. Is there anything I can do? Is there anything I can serve? Anything I can give them for the day? And they're very, very happy to talk to me.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, I do a similar process.
All right, so I'm going to put the chimes on. So, Michelle, you just tell me if that's loud enough.
That's perfect.
Okay, right. So what I'm going to do, if you're watching this, you can close your eyes. If you're listening to this, you can again close your eyes and put your hands on your belly. And allow yourself to synchronize your breathing with the chimes themselves. So the chime signifies the beginning of an in-breath or the beginning of an out-breath. It might take a little bit of time just to kind of, depending on your breathing pattern it might be too fast, too slow, but just do your best to align it with the chime itself. So then as you take some slow, deep breaths into your belly, just allowing all the things that are around you to be where they are, and there's nothing that you need to do about them. It's kind of like you can create a bubble around yourself that's safe and secure. Now, if you're the kind of person that often fades away and falls asleep, one of the other things that you can do is to rest your hand, your elbow in one hand. So for those of you who can see me, I'm resting one hand on one elbow. So what happens if I start to fall asleep, because I want you to stay conscious, if I start to fall asleep, my hand will move very slowly to begin with, then it would speed up. So that's another way of staying conscious and alert rather than falling asleep. So just gently allowing your breathing to quieten you down. To find that gentle space within your body. And just allow everything else to fade away and just be present inside your body. And allow your awareness to focus on the breathing of your body. And then gently think of some resource or some quality that would be really useful and relevant and timely for where you are right now. Maybe some circumstance that you have to deal with. There may be a challenge, or there may be something that you want to experience, or you want to do something differently. And then ask your heart and your belly, what kind of resource or quality would be really relevant for you here and now? And allow one quality or resource to emerge. There could be lots, just pick one. But just inquire as to if this quality or this resource has a colour. Does it have a shape? Does it have a sound or a texture? And if it is, then just be aware of what that may be. It may just be the word itself, and that's fine. So then as you breathe in, breathe that quality into the space around your heart and your chest. So gently breathe that quality into the space. And continue to breathe that quality into the space around your heart and your chest. So you really get a sense of connectedness to that quality. And as you do that, then now move your awareness up into the space of your head and invite your beautiful creative head brain to come up with some ideas and some ways of how you can take that quality and make it manifest in your life. So the invitation is simply for your head brain to come up with some ideas. And the ideas can happen consciously, but sometimes they happen unconsciously. So just allowing some time and some space for your head brain to come up with some ideas. How can you take this quality and this resource and make it physical, make it tangible, make it real in your life? And just notice sometimes how quickly the ideas can pop in. It's almost like they happen in a nanosecond. Sometimes they can take a little bit of their own time. Of course, sometimes the ideas can actually be generated, but we're not aware of what they are. And sometimes that's the wisest thing that can happen, because sometimes people can micromanage everything. So if people are micromanagers, then don't be surprised if the ideas don't seem to happen. But the head brain is always creative. It cannot help itself. It will keep on coming up with ideas. So then allow these ideas now to filter down into, and almost like they're in front of your heart. It's like a smorgasbord of ideas. And simply you can place your hand on your heart and ask your heart, of all these ideas, conscious and unconscious, which one do you like the best? Which one do you particularly go, yep, this is the one that I want? So just allowing your heart the space to pick an idea. And then to move this idea down into your gallery. And to connect with the general. And the general is the mobilizer. It's part of us that helps us to get things done. And it may be that the general has things now that has to say yes to. It may be there are things it has to say no to. So this is when we have clearer boundaries. How do we take this idea, chosen by the heart, and bring it down into how we show up in the world? What do we need to do to expand our sense of self, expand our sense of who we truly are? And this is the invitation to the general, to move and upgrade its software to accommodate us taking that idea into the world. And the gut brain, the general, its biggest and the best thing that it can do is to protect the heart. It will do anything it can to serve the heart fully. And sometimes what the gut brain has to do is to step up, is to take us beyond our comfort zone, is to mobilize us and to find the courage that we need to do, to say the things that we need to say, to do the things that we need to do. And this is what the gut brain can do. But it needs the invitation from our heart to be able to do so. So have a sense now of your gut brain expanding itself of how it needs to show up, what it needs to say and do, what it needs to say yes to, what it needs to say no to. And allow it then to generate the energy that you need to take this idea into the world. And as you invite your gut brain to do this, knowing that it can do this in ways that may surprise and delight you. It may be that you just find yourself doing something differently, or saying yes to something when maybe you would have hesitated, or saying no to something else because it doesn't truly fit where it is that your heart wants you to go. So then gently move back up into the space around your heart and your chest. And having a sense of how these three beautiful brains, intelligences, can work together collaboratively. And just take a moment on the inside of you to say thank you to your head, your heart, and your gut. Just in whatever way that you want to do so. Just take a moment to do that. Just say thank you to all three of them for playing. And then gently bring yourself back here into your body, into your room where you're sitting. And then just gently have a yawn, open your eyes. And that's the process.
Wow, welcome back everybody. That was beautiful, Bill. I will be enjoying the recording several times, of that I'm quite sure. Thank you so very much. That's very special, and how beautiful that you have given us a demonstration of what you're talking about, because it's one thing to hear something, it's completely another thing to feel it, and to assimilate the two is a whole nother dimension again. So humbly, I thank you very much.
My pleasure.
On behalf of all of us listeners, that was very, very special. Now, Bill, I would just like to give you the opportunity to allow people to know how to find you so that they can learn more about your work and perhaps even work with you.
Okay, well, there's a couple things. One is you can go to my website, evolveaustralia.com.au. So that's one place you can get to see me. The other place is another website I've got more around training for coaches, which is mBITcoachtraining.com. We actually have a program coming up in March of this year, 2017. And normally I do these trainings by myself, but I'm actually training with another master trainer from New Zealand. She's coming over. We're doing the training together. And that's on the Gold Coast. The reason that we're doing this together is we're going to be doing a trainers program in Bali this year, mid-year. So we want to do a couple of trainings before we actually do the 6 days or longer trainings. That's kind of how we work together. We've already done one, and it's beautiful having two different energies working to do the same thing. The other thing is I am creating a program for heart-based entrepreneurs. This will be an online program, and I'll be launching that in February or March, just depending on technical issues more than anything else. If you're interested in that, it'll be an online program. If you're interested in that, you can email me at bill@evolveaustralia.com.au. So there are three places you can get a hold of me. You can also get a hold of me through Michelle, because I'm connected to Michelle. Michelle's got my contact details. So if this resonates with you in any way, then come and talk to me. If you also are a heart-based entrepreneur, then come and talk to me. I know that, Michelle, you've already got a beautiful and growing tribe. And the more... so let me talk about heart-based, if I may, just for a moment. Entrepreneurs can change the world, and entrepreneurs have done forever. But heart-based entrepreneurs can change the world in a positive way. The local drug dealer or gun runner is an entrepreneur. But I'm not likely to be working with gun runners or drug dealers because they're not my audience. So there are people that make products for the money alone. Nothing wrong with money, of course, but really what I'm dealing with is people who have more a heart connection to their deepest yearnings. And part of my mission is to help them get even more connected to that, even more connected to the useful part of their creative head brain, and then to access their belly to engage their general to do the things that they need to do. So that's the difference between entrepreneurs and heart-based entrepreneurs. Heart-based entrepreneurs are much more connected to their deepest yearnings rather than just, let's make money, how can we do that? Different all that.
That's beautiful. And for our listeners, if you're looking and seeking a community and you're not a part of one already, jump onto Facebook and look up the group Entrepreneurs Globally Unite, which I've personally created. And you'll find Bill in there, you'll find me in there way too often, because that is where the spiritual heart-centered entrepreneurs that are connected and drawn to me and my services hang out as well. And it's nice to have a space where you don't feel like you're an outsider.
Yeah.
It's very beautiful. So thank you, Bill, for joining us today.
Yes,
I'm sure all of those listening would love me to extend their gratitude to you. And guys and girls, take the easy road and connect with someone that inspires you to take quantum leap, someone that's done the hard work and the training and that is now ready to help you make your life much easier and much, much happier. So you can find me, Michelle Reinhardt, at $1,000,000mindset.com. And once again, Bill, much love and gratitude to you for the work you do and the contribution you're making to heart-centered entrepreneurs.
My pleasure. And thank you, Michelle, for inviting me and being the first one for this year. So 2017 is a year of new beginnings, new stuff for us all. So let's get out there and go do it.
Absolutely. So shine bright, superstars. Remember, that's why you're here. And we'll see you next week. Thank you, Bill.
Thanks, Michelle.
Bye. Everyone.